an empire so vast, so powerful, that it shaped the destinies of many tribes across West Africa. This was the Oyo Empire, a kingdom forged through blood, wisdom, and strategy. To uncover the true history of the Oyo Empire is to walk into the soul of a lost glory, a kingdom whose influence stretched from modern-day Nigeria to parts of Benin and even Togo. Our tale begins in the 14th century, with the emergence of Oramian, the legendary prince of Ife. Oramian, son of Oduduwa, the ancestral father of the Yoruba people, was said to be half god and half man. His journeys led him across many lands until he finally settled in the plains of the north, founding the city that would become Oyo, or Old Oyo. Oramian's descendants carried on his vision, and over generations, the kingdom expanded through conquest and diplomacy. The Olofin of Oyo, the supreme ruler, was not only a political leader but also a divine figure. Under his rule, the empire's structure grew complex, incorporating governance known as Ajil, a strong military called the Eso, and a secretive but powerful group called the Oyo Messi, who served as kingmakers and checks on royal authority. But what truly elevated Oyo to greatness was its mastery of the cavalry. Horses, brought by trade through the northern Hausa lands, gave the Oyo army unmatched speed and power. It is said that Oyo warriors could sweep across enemy lines like the desert wind, leaving entire cities trembling before the Alafin's might. Yet, within all greatness lies the seeds of danger. The Ajil, stationed in conquered lands to collect tribute and maintain order, began to grow corrupt. Reports emerged of extortion, abuse, and tyranny in subject towns, especially in Egbedo and Dahomey regions. Tensions grew. And so did resistance. One such spark ignited in the town of Ilorin. There, a fiery Yoruba general named Afonja, driven by ambition and resentment, rebelled against the Olofin. But Afonja's decision to ally with Fulani warriors would become a grave error. The Fulani, once allies, turned on Afonja and took Ilorin for themselves. The empire had begun to crumble from within. But the fall of Oyo was not just political, it was spiritual. The bond between the Olofin and the Oyo Messi weakened. Rituals were abandoned. Corruption found home in palaces. Trade routes were disrupted. Slavery, once used as a weapon of power, turned into a curse. The kingdom that had ruled for centuries started to decay. By the 19th century, the once mighty Oyo Empire had fractured. The throne of the Olofin remained, but its influence waned. The British, now lacking on the coastal edges, saw the weakness and moved in. But the spirit of Oyo did not die. It found refuge in the culture, language, music, and pride of its descendants. And today, in the heart of Oyo town, the Alafin's palace still stands, a whisper of a time when Yorubaland held an empire that ruled with the roar of thunder and the calm of tradition. What other secrets did the Oyo Empire hide? What did the British fear about its rise? And who truly betrayed the Olofin? We journey deeper into forbidden corridors of Yoruba royalty, uncovering the sacred paths that shaped destinies and the betrayals that tore them apart. Stay tuned. The past is not done speaking. Of Ogbomoso history, Yoruba kings, Yoruba warrior kings, untold African history, Nigerian kingship, tale of the motherland, Yoruba monarchy, secret Yoruba history. Thunder roars as a dark cloud looms over the Yoruba forest land. A young warrior named Ogunlola tightens his grip on his sword. He is not royalty. Not yet. He is just a hunter. But fate is about to make him a king. Ogunlola was a brave, fearless hunter from the Onekoi lineage in Oyo. He left Oyo in search of freedom, fertile land, and peace, traveling south with his wife Esu to settle in a thick forest where no man dared live. But this forest wasn't empty. It was home to wild beasts and slave raiders. And it was there that Ogunlola built a small hut and began the story that would change Yoruba history forever. People began to gather near Ogunlola. He was wise, fair, and always protected the weak. So they called him Bail, leader of the settlement. Over time, his hunting camp grew into a town. He named it Ogbomoso. Why? Because of his famous chant in war. Ijeki Ebi Omosho. Let us carry the child and escape with him. A survival code during a fierce battle. That chant, Omosho, gave rise to the name of Ogbomoso. Ogunlola's rise to power came from one deadly act, He captured and killed the notorious slave raider Elemoso, a general feared even by the Alefin of Oyo. When Ogunlola brought Elemoso's severed head to the palace in Oyo, the Alefin was stunned. He stood and said, "This is not just a hunter. This is a king in the making." He allowed Ogunlola to rule his territory freely and independently, unofficially a king, though still called Baal. But here's what many don't know. Legend has it that before Ogunlola could defeat Elemoso, he made a spiritual covenant with the forest goddess near the Ogun River. He offered his own blood, mixed with palm oil and black soap, and swore, "If I become king, my crown will never be taken away by treachery. But my children must never betray this land." This covenant has protected Ogbomoso for centuries, but it came with a price. Any prince who tries to sell out the town for wealth or politics mysteriously faces ruin, sickness, madness, or exile. Some say this curse still haunts the ruling lineage today. In the 1800s, long after Ogunlola's death, the people of Ogbomoso decided the title Baal was no longer enough. They were warriors, farmers, scholars, and priests, not slaves of Oyo. They adopted the title Son, meaning the one who sits in honor. The first official son was Oba Toej, who also became a powerful Aona Kokonfo, generalissimo of the Oyo Empire. He led battles that even the Alefin could not. Ogbomoso was no longer a small town. It became a powerhouse. But there were secrets within the palace that outsiders still do not know. Unlike other Yoruba crowns, the original crown of the son of Ogbomoso contains no iron. Instead, it is made of leather, beads, and cloth. Because of the covenant Ogunlola made, no blood or metal must defile his sacred authority. It is said that anytime a crown with iron is introduced, disasters hit the town, drought, political chaos, or royal confusion. Only those initiated into the Ogboni cult or the Ogbomoso inner shrine know this truth. When the British arrived in Yorubaland, they tried to reduce the power of kings. They replaced many traditional rulers with warrant chiefs. But the people of Ogbomoso refused. They hid the son's sacred items, scattered the royal drums, and disguised the palace as a farm hut. The British could not understand why the people would rather farm in silence than lose their crown. The Son throne survived colonialism, quietly, stubbornly, and spiritually. In 1973, a bold, modern monarch was crowned, Oba Olodoni Oyewumi, Ajigongbe III. He ruled for 48 years, longer than almost any modern king in Yorubaland. He built the first story palace in Nigeria, a symbol of progress and tradition. But he was also fierce. In 1995, when the military government tried to encroach on his palace land, he sent a message to Abuja. "I am not your employee. I am the custodian of Ogbomoso. I was here before you, and I will be here after you." He was right. The government backed down. After the death of Oba Oyewumi in December 2021, Ogbomoso was quiet on the surface, but beneath, a fierce royal battle raged. Multiple royal houses, Olejo, Toyej, Gogongboy, all wanted the throne. Accusations flew. Fires disappeared. Oracle readings were tampered with. Someone even stole the ancestral staff for a week. What most Nigerians don't know is that the Son throne had remained in one ruling house since 1916, a fact that has caused tension among the other lineages. Some elders fear that Ogunlola's covenant is being broken. After 2 years of silence, in 2023, a new Son was finally installed. Oba Afolabi Gandi Leoi, a former pastor, leadership consultant, and global speaker, now a king. But not without controversy. Some said the pastor shouldn't wear beads. Others said the oracle never picked him. And a few claimed he was chosen by men, not spirits. But the day he was crowned, heavy rain stopped suddenly. A rainbow appeared over the ancient palace, and the town roared. The covenant still speaks. The son of Ogbomoso is more than a king. He is the spirit of a town that rose from forest soil, defeated enemies, survived the British, and preserved its history in silence. You may never see his secrets written in books. But the land knows. The spirits know. And the people of Ogbomoso remember.
Show me.
For the rise of cities like Lagos, Ibadan, and Abeokuta, there existed a powerful and mysterious Yoruba kingdom, a kingdom erased from maps, silenced in songs, and buried deep in the sands of time. This was not just a kingdom of warriors, but of seers, astronomers, queens, and kings whose stories were never written, only whispered. Our tale begins not in a palace, but in a crumbling village hidden in the dense forest of Ijesha land. The village was called Ilu Ai, meaning the city of the earth. Few maps mention it. Fewer people remember it. But according to elders, it was once the heart of Yoruba land, the center from which wisdom, culture, and spiritual power flowed. An old man named Baba Ogunmodi, the last oral historian of Ilu Ai, tells the story from the edge of his woven mat, his fingers tracing invisible symbols into the air. Before the Uni of Ife, before the Alefin of Oyo, there was Oba Asorolo, the king whose name meant the one whose words shaped destinies. He was born under a red moon, and the oracle declared that he would either save the world or vanish from it completely. No middle path. Asorolo's reign began with peace and prosperity. The kingdom's people were craftsmen, iron workers, herbalists, and artists whose fame spread as far as Mali and the Nile. But the king was restless. Guided by ancient dreams and messages from the oracles of Olojime, he knew something dark was coming. A great division struck Yoruba land. Not a war of swords, but a spiritual war, between those who followed the old ways of the earth and sky, and those who sought new gods from across the sea. Oba Asorolo warned them. When we forget the names of the rivers, we dry them. When we forget the spirits of the trees, they fall. But his warnings were ignored. One night, under the cover of a heavy storm, a rebellion rose within the kingdom. It wasn't just from outsiders, it came from his own chiefs, men he raised as sons, who feared his visions and the ancient powers he summoned. They struck when the land was weakest. By dawn, Ilu Ai had burned. But Oba Asorolo did not die. The legends say he walked into the sacred grove behind the palace, the forbidden forest of Oibo, and vanished into the earth. Some say he turned to stone. Some say he waits beneath the ground for Yoruba land to call him again. The surviving people scattered. Some became the founders of Ikeo, Lagos. Others traveled north to create Oyo. A few settled in Alife. But the story of Ilu Ai was forbidden. To speak it was to invite darkness. But now, centuries later, strange signs are returning. A child born with ancient tribal marks unknown in modern times. Old drums playing themselves in the forest of Osun. A hidden manuscript found beneath a shrine in Ife with Asorolo's name carved into it. Could it be that the lost kingdom never died, but was simply waiting? Many people have heard of Oduduwa. Some know Osangonga and Abamekin. But very few have ever heard of the Uni who came right after them. A man feared by gods, warriors, and spirits. A king who ruled with iron and justice. His name was Uni Ogun, and this is the story they didn't want you to know. Uni Ogun was the second official Uni of Ife, coming after Osangonga and Abamekin. He wasn't just a king, he was a living weapon, a man named after the god of iron and war, Ogun. But here's what most people don't know. Uni Ogun was not just named after the deity Ogun. Some say he was Ogun reincarnated in human form. He was born during a time of chaos. After Oduduwa settled in Alife, tensions still simmered between the original Ogbomokan clans and the new order. There were whispers of rebellion, of blood sacrifice, of gods who were angry. The people needed a king who would protect them, not just spiritually, but physically. And so, the chiefs chose Ogun. Unlike his father Osangongan, who was peaceful and diplomatic, Uni Ogun was a fighter. He wore armored beads crafted from bronze and stone. He never used a walking staff, he walked with a blade of iron. They say he once faced down a lightning storm, yelling to the sky, "I do not bow to fear." His palace was built like a fortress. He trained young warriors, established military shrines, and ensured Ife could never be invaded again. But he wasn't a tyrant. No. He was just. He punished corrupt chiefs. He protected women and children. He was the first to create the title of Lara Agboken, commander of the King's Guard. And if anyone dared challenge the king's rule, it was said that Ogun would fight them himself. Uni Ogun's bloodline is one of the most mysterious in Yoruba history. Many Yoruba families today still claim descent from him, especially in the towns of Irimo, Otona, and Ajibu-Ife. But why is he rarely spoken of? Some say he was too powerful, too wild for the priest of the time. He refused to submit completely to the Ifo oracle. He believed that destiny should be fought for, not accepted. Because of this, some scribes tried to erase his name from oral tradition. Others feared invoking his spirit because it brought thunder, war, and fire. But in reality, Uni Ogun wasn't a villain. He was a king of strength, loyalty, and justice, one who believed the Yoruba people could not survive without warriors and wisdom. Here are some shocking and rarely shared facts about Uni Ogun. He was buried with a sword made from meteorite stone, a metal that never rusts. It's said the sword still lies beneath the ancient palace ground and only a future warrior king will find it. He banished 3 high priests who tried to sacrifice children. This led to the first major spiritual reform in Ife. Some of those priests fled and founded secret cults in nearby regions. He fought in a spiritual war against the deity Oya. Legend says Ogun challenged Oya to a wind versus iron battle. The storm lasted for 7 days. No one knows who won, but it never rained in Alife for a year after that. He created the first protective wall around Alife, made of fire clay, iron stakes, and magical inscriptions. Portions of it can still be seen during deep excavation today. His final words were kept secret. Some say his dying breath became a chant only the Uni can recite during the sacred Olojo festival. If anyone else speaks it, their tongue turns black. Even though modern history often skips his name, Uni Ogun's spirit lives on. Every time the Uni carries their crown, it's said that Ogun's fire flows through it. During the Olojo festival, when the Uni steps out in full regalia, that moment of silence before the first drum beat, that's for Ogun. The blacksmiths of Ife still pour libation to his name before forging royal iron. His legacy is in every sword, every gate, every sacred drum that rings during war dances. You see, Yoruba history is not just about gods and stories. It's about people. People like Uni Ogun, warrior, king, legend. They try to bury his name in silence. But today, we raise it in truth. If you've never heard this story before, now you have. Share it. Comment what shocked you most. And don't forget to subscribe to Tale of the Motherland, the place where true African stories rise again. Before there was Lagos, before there was even Nigeria, there was Alife. A city so powerful, the gods themselves called it home. But what secrets are hidden beneath the sacred soil of this ancient land? Why do they say the ground of Ife breathes with divine energy? Today, you'll find out. Long, long ago, before time began, there was only water. No land. No people. No trees. Just the endless ocean and the sky above. But Olojomere, the supreme god, had a divine plan. He sent Odujuwa, the father of the Yoruba people, down from the heavens with a bag of sand, a 5-toed chicken, and a sacred palm nut. Odujuwa poured the sand on the water. The chicken scratched it, spreading it into land. Then he planted the palm nut, and it grew into 16 branches, representing the 16 original Yoruba kingdoms. Right there, that very moment, Alife was born. And so the gods descended, one by one, to settle in Ife. Each with a purpose. Each with a power. Unlike other lands where humans worship the gods, in Ife, it is said that the gods themselves worship Olojomere, and some worship each other, based on power, wisdom, or loyalty. Let's meet these ancient deities. They call him Orishanlo, the great deity. He was tasked with creating human beings from clay. He shaped their heads, arms, and legs. But one day, he drank palm wine and got drunk. In his drunkenness, he made some humans with disabilities. From that moment, Obatala swore never to drink again, and he became the protector of the physically challenged and the god of purity, peace, and wisdom. In Alife, he is deeply worshipped because it is said that he molded mankind right there, in a sacred grove called Ibo Obatala. Odujuwa is not just a god, he is a king. He is believed to be the first ruler of Alife and the ancestor of all Yoruba kings, including the Uni of Ife. To this day, Every coronation in Yorubaland traces its rituals back to Oduduwa. He is worshipped as the god of the land, unity, and royalty. His shrine in Ife is one of the oldest, and his spirit is believed to protect the throne and the people. Where there is war, there is Ogun. Where there is technology, mechanics, and metal, Ogun reigns. Ogun descended with his mighty sword and cut through the forest of the earth to make space for civilization. In Alife, blacksmiths still pray to him before crafting tools. He is worshipped with dogs, palm wine, and roasted yams. Ogun represents strength, sacrifice, and progress, and Ife was his first battlefield. Shango, the fiery king of lightning and thunder, once ruled Oyo but was deified after death. He is worshipped in Ife not just as a god, but as a symbol of power and justice. His presence is called upon when there is injustice or betrayal, and his shrine in Ife rumbles with drums during storms. People believe when thunder strikes, Shango is angry, and they offer him ram sacrifices and red cloth to calm his fury. Osen, the river goddess, is worshipped for her feminine energy, fertility, beauty, and healing. Her connection to Ife is deep, as she was part of the divine council that supported creation. Women trying to conceive visit her sacred waters in Ife to bathe and pray. Gold, honey, and sweet songs are given to her. Osen teaches that power does not always come from strength, but from sweetness and patience. Often misunderstood, Esu is not the devil. He is the divine messenger, the keeper of balance. He carries sacrifices to the gods, and watches over decisions, ensuring consequences are served. In Ife, every offering starts with Esu. He is the reason prayers reach the heavens. Esu is feared and respected, for he teaches that life is never one way, and every path has a price. Alife is not just a city, it is a spiritual headquarters. According to Ifo, Yoruba divination, it is the navel of the world, the place where creation began. Every god has a sacred spot in Ife. Obetola's grove, Oduduwa's temple, Ogun's shrine of iron, Esu's crossroads, Osen's riverbed, Oromola's divination house. They all return there, in spirit, during sacred festivals. Every year in Ife, the air vibrates with drums, chants, and rituals. Olojo Festival, honoring Ogun and Oduduwa, led by the Uni wearing the sacred crown that is believed to contain mystical powers. Oromola Festival, where ancient secrets of divination are revealed. Osora Festival, honoring the earth goddess, celebrated by women seeking fertility. Even foreigners come to witness the beauty and mystery of Ife's spirituality. The Uni of Ife is not just a king, he is believed to be a descendant of Oduduwa and a spiritual leader of the Yoruba race. Every decision he makes is backed by divine guidance. He doesn't just rule the people, he speaks for the gods. During ceremonies, the Uni enters a trance, believed to be possessed by ancestral spirits. He becomes the mouthpiece of gods like Obetola and Oromola. In the heart of Nigeria lies a city where myths work as men. Where gods once lived and still whisper through the trees. Where every stone tells a story, and every ritual echoes across time. This is Alife, the sacred home of the gods. And now, you know why they worship there. If this story touched your heart or opened your eyes, don't just scroll past. Like, share, and subscribe for more hidden truths of the motherland. Leave a comment below, which Yoruba god do you feel connected to? Let's keep the stories of our ancestors alive. Before Lagos, before the fusion of kingdoms that shaped Nigeria, there was a mysterious city in the heart of the Yoruba nation. A city of warriors, prophets, betrayal, and sacrifice. Before Oduduwa, before the Oyo Empire, before Benin even rose to power. There was a king. A king many of us have never heard of. His name was Uni Osangongan Abamaken, the man who ruled Alife before Oduduwa ever stepped foot there. What if I told you everything we thought we knew about Yoruba history has a deeper layer? Let me take you far back, to a time before paper, books, and colonizers. They say Osangongan Abamaken was born of fire and mystery. He was the son of Oranf, the god of thunder and fire, who lived on the sacred hill of Okora. His mother was said to be a daughter of the sky, gifted with the ability to see spirits in trees and rivers. From birth, Osangongan's body gave off heat like fire. Even as a child, he was respected, not feared, because people said his presence brought peace to warring villages. At just 15, he walked into a gathering of elders and said, "Let there be unity. Let there be peace in Ogbomokan." That night, 16 independent villages agreed to make him the ruler, the first unifying king of what we now call Ile-Ife. He was not just a king. He was a spiritual leader, a priest, a judge, and a builder of civilization. Most people think Oduduwa was the first king of Ile-Ife, but no. Osangongan Abamekin was already king when Oduduwa arrived. Back then, Ile-Ife was not a single city. It was a network of sacred communities known as Ogbomokan, peaceful, organized, and spiritually powerful. As a young man, Osangongan united the clans using diplomacy, not war. He established Ilero, the first assembly house in Ile-Ife, the Royal Council of Elders, spiritual rituals that are still used in the Yoruba religion today. He didn't wear a crown like modern kings. He wore white chalk and fire beads, representing purity and strength. People came from far lands to seek his wisdom. Even early Benin traders bowed before his name. He was known as the flame that speaks, because his words calmed angry hearts. One quiet morning, the hills of Oak Ore trembled. A man arrived with warriors, strangers from a foreign land. His name, Oduduwa. He came seeking land, shelter, and refuge. Now here's what most people don't know. Instead of fighting Oduduwa, Osangongan welcomed him. Yes, you heard right. Osangongan gave him a place to stay in the Idita quarter. He even taught Oduduwa how to speak the local language of Ogbomokan. For 16 years, Oduduwa lived as a guest in the land of Osangongan. But over time, something changed. Oduduwa grew in popularity. People were drawn to his military skills, his charisma, and his dream of building an empire. Then one day, Oduduwa refused to return Idita, the land he was given. It caused a great crisis between the elders, between the gods, and between two great men. The diplomat king versus the empire builder. Before war could break out, the people went to the Ifo oracle. The oracle said, "There cannot be two suns in the sky. One must live for the other to rise." Osangongan, being wise, chose not to fight. He told his people, "If fate says we must live, let us become stars elsewhere. But our spirit will never die in this land." He ordered a peaceful exodus of his people. But something miraculous happened. As the people walked away from the palace, some turned into trees. Some turned into sacred boulders, which can still be found on Arimo Road today. They became eternal guardians of Ile-Ife and Osangongan. He took his family, his priests, and warriors, and founded new kingdoms along the coast, including Ogbo land, where his descendants still rule today. Even though Oduduwa became the new ruler of Ile-Ife, Osangongan's spiritual power never left. To this day, the crown worn by every Oni must be blessed by Osangongan's descendants in the house of Ilogbo. During the famous Olojo festival, before the Uni steps out in public, he must seek Osangongan's ancient spirits for approval. In fact, the Royal Ilero house still stands today near Arimo Road. The Uni's crowning ceremony cannot be complete without the rituals founded by Osangongan's priests. The aged deity and other powerful spirits in Yoruba land were first worshipped under his rule. So while Oduduwa is celebrated as the father of the Yoruba kingdom, Osangongan is remembered as the soul of it. You know Moremi Ajesoro, the woman celebrated for saving Ile-Ife from invaders. Some say she was once married to Osangongan's son before betraying her family to help Oduduwa's army defeat the Ogbomokan warriors. In the modern Ife palace, she is seen as a heroine. But in Ogbo oral history, she is seen as a traitor who gave away their secrets to the enemy. Yes. History depends on who is telling it. In a world where power is measured by violence, Osangongan chose peace. He was not defeated, he walked away because he believed in destiny. His legacy teaches us that power is not about holding a throne, but preserving a spirit. True kings don't fight every battle, they choose the right one. The roots of Yoruba greatness didn't start with empire. It started with unity, wisdom, and sacrifice. Today, if you visit the Oni's palace, If you see the sacred stones on Arimo Road, if you hear the drums during the Olojo festival, know this. You are hearing the heartbeat of Wuni Osangangan Abamekin, the forgotten king, the flame that walked, the father of Yoruba spirituality. Now you know. Share this with someone who thought Odujuwa was the first king of Ilefe. The forgotten king, the flame that walked, the father of Yoruba spirituality. Now you know. Share this with someone who thought Odujuwa was the first king of Ilefe.